Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. You know, I love the Looney Tunes. Who doesn't? They're funny, they're clever, they're unique, they're absolutely wonderful. And you wanna know what else? I love basketball. Again, who doesn't? It's fun, it's intense, it gives you a rush of energy, it's also absolutely wonderful. However, you want to be sure to keep these two elements as far away from each other as humanly possible. Because if you don't, you get fucking Space Jam! The worst piece of commercialized half-baked horseshit that ever hit the... Okay, alright, I apologize. I just really hate it when Hollywood takes not one, but two of the things that I hold so dear to me and poisons it with undiluted urine-filled backwash that I hate so much. So, with that said, let's take a look at how these two wonderful pastimes got transformed into the cinematic gang rape that lies before us. First of all, you might be wondering, how the hell did this idea even come about? Well, in the early 90s, Nike had a brilliant marketing plan for selling their hottest new item, Air Jordans. Obviously, they had Jordan on board, but they needed something else that would be sure to grab all the little kids' attention. So Nike made a deal with Warner Brothers to throw in characters like Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian into their commercials.
What'd you expect? Elmer Fudd?
The ads were a huge hit, and soon Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan became America's top marketing whores, sucking dick for Nike, McDonald's, toy moguls, and too many t-shirt companies to count.
Gruesome, ain't it?
After this big success, the marketing heads at Warner Brothers got an idea. What if we turn the commercial into a movie, thereby turning the movie into a commercial, thereby producing commercials for commercials? It's like every advertiser's wet dream, a perpetual marketing money-making motion machine that has the ability to turn shit into gold!
Well, that's how it goes.
And thus, Space Jam was born, the first film that was quite literally a commercial for a commercial for a commercial. But don't worry, they hide that fact very cleverly.
Get your Hanes on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties and your Gatorade, and we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark.
Subtle. But still, a movie with two of America's most treasured icons was a pretty big deal, and we knew that the heads of Hollywood wouldn't just throw any crap together for their money-making prized possessions.
Obviously.
So tell us then, what's the story?
You see, these aliens come from outer space, and they want to make us slaves in their theme park, so we challenge them to a basketball game. But then they show up, and they ain't so little. They're huge! We need to beat these guys, because they're talking about slavery. They're gonna make us do stand-up comedy, the same jokes every night for all eternity. We're gonna be locked up like wild animals and then trotted out to perform for a bunch of lowbrow, bug-eyed, fat-headed, humor-challenged aliens.
Is it too late to get my money back? Okay, so the story Bugs was trying to get across starts off with Michael Jordan after he dropped out of the NBA. The first time he dropped out. We see him during those embarrassing years when he actually took up baseball instead of basketball. And that's not bad writing, that actually happened. Meanwhile, we travel to, outer space, where the evil ruler of a, theme park on the moon is looking for new attractions. So he sends his aliens to kidnap the Looney Tunes, who live in, the middle of the Earth, where the Looney Tunes retaliate by, challenging them to a basketball game. How many times have we heard that story?
We gotta get new agents. We're getting screwed.
But before we even get to that, we have to watch dozens of scenes where Michael Jordan is interacting with his family.
Smell with Jeff.
Well, he went 2 for 5 and lost 32 points in his batting average.
Is that all?
Yeah, so that puts him at like a 685 or something.
Oh, come on. Can't you get to the Looney Tunes already?
What do you think? I'm kind of partial to purple and gold myself. It goes better with my coloring.
Second thought, go back to the boring family.
What you cooking?
Chicken.
Chicken and what?
Chicken and collard greens.
Good.
Second thought, go back to the Looney Tunes.
One giant leap for Moron Mountain!
Is the 700 Club on?
I thought you'd never ask.
Judging by those clips, you may have noticed the first problem with this movie. The Looney Tunes aren't funny. They're rude, loud, and obnoxiously annoying, but they're certainly not funny. In fact, the writing for this movie is so horrible you almost wish the original Looney Tunes from the 50s could sit there and watch it.
I'm a cheerleader. But Mommy, I don't want to go to school today.
Boo.
Ah! I wet myself.
Very funny.
The second problem you may have noticed with this movie is that Michael Jordan is not funny. He's dull, boring, and an incredibly bad actor, but he's certainly not funny. In fact, I don't even think he knows he's in a movie. I think they just followed him around with cameras and then painted some cartoon characters in the background.
Suffering succotash!
Getting back to the story, the aliens decide to go back to our world and try to get some extra strength. While there, they sit next to the wife from Everybody Loves Raymond and the guy who did the voice for Homer Simpson. How random. So the aliens steal all the talent from some of basketball's greatest players.
We're fine. It's just some psychosomatic deal or something to do with the moon or the alignment of the planet.
Wow, it looks like they took their acting talent too.
It stinks.
So the aliens become giant monsters which the Looney Tunes can't possibly defeat. So they get the help of Michael Jordan and his wormy little assistant played by Wayne Knight, who I was surprised to find out is not a cartoon character.
Oh yeah? Who says?
So the game is on, and all the Looney Tunes join forces to stop the evil aliens in a universal Space Jam. Which still sounds strange to me, I don't know. When I think of Space Jam, I think of that stuff they used in Spaceballs to block out the radar.
Raspberry.
So all your favorites are there for the lineup, including Bugs, Daffy, Porky, Taz, Elmer, Lola, Tweety, Marvin, Wait a minute! Who the fuck is Lola? Oh, wait, I remember, from the classic Lola cartoons. You know, with Who the fuck's Lola? Lola turns out is a girl bunny they created to bring in more of the female demographic. Unfortunately, they didn't really make her fun, silly, goofy, or zany. In fact, they didn't give her any personality at all. They just tried to pose her off as some sort of strange sex symbol. Which is kinda weird because she is in fact a rabbit. She's not a person, she's a rabbit. If it was a person, maybe it would make a little bit more sense to make her a sex symbol, but she is in fact a rabbit. Why would anyone want to fuck a rabbit? What sense does that make? Rabbits aren't sexy, rabbits are food! I mean, look at her. They dress her in skimpy clothes, they make her wear short shorts. Oh, and here's the biggest insult of all. They actually gave her bunny boobies. Bunny boobies! I mean, what kind of sick, twisted pervert actually gives a cartoon character bunny boobies? I mean, if that Hassenpfeffer hussy actually has female genitalia, what does that mean the other Looney Tune characters have?
Oh, we've got balls!
Stop! Okay, alright. Let me make one thing perfectly clear to all you Warner Brothers representatives out there. We don't want to fuck bunnies. I can't believe I have to say this. We don't want to fuck bunnies. I mean, we're people. Therefore, we like to fuck other people. I'm sure there's some small percentage of people out there that like to fuck bunnies, but that hardly seems like a very profitable demographic. I mean, I put it to you. Have you ever seen a bunny that you actually had the hots for? That doesn't count! Okay, so aside from promoting bestiality to kids, the film also has the worst camera shots in the entire world. That is to say, they're all extreme close-ups. Seriously, I feel like all the characters in this movie are about to French me. These shots are so close, I keep thinking the camera's gonna hit them in the face, like in the opening of Aladdin.
Too close. A little too close.
So all the Looney Tune characters, Bugs, Daffy, Taz, Ho, and so forth, pretty much get their animated asses handed to them. And trust me when I say no one is spared. Dude, did they just beat the shit out of Granny? They did! They just beat the shit out of Granny! They actually tackled, punched, and kicked an innocent old lady who never harmed anyone in her life! Can I see it again? One more time. Oh my god, I could watch that forever.
Oh my.
But unfortunately, the movie continues, and it turns out that Michael Jordan and his Looney Tunes are actually short one player. Who could they possibly get? Aw, no, Bill! What are you doing? You still got a career to lose!
Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
Go! Get out! There's still time! Look, you made it through Larger Than Life, and you made it through The Man Who Knew Too Little, but I just don't think you can survive this!
This is why I was born.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the name of a director here, Sofia Coppola. She's kind of a newcomer, but she has a lot of promise. Just think about it.
Very funny.
Of course it comes down to a tied game, and it's up to Michael Jordan to score the final point. But, in a stunning turn of events, they actually don't win. They lose the game, defying all cinematic conventions. Michael Jordan finds out that he is an imperfect human being, a fallen hero. He discovers the burden and responsibility that having such great power requires. But he also finds that strength comes from the mind and soul, and not just from athletic accomplishments. And though not the happiest ending, the film teaches children that even in their darkest moments, you can always find unity in yourself. And that, my friend, is the essence of all mankind. Nah, just kidding. He makes the basket and wins. So the Looney Tunes get Michael back home, give the players back their talent, and return to being their phenomenally unfunny selves. But Jordan still has one last thing to settle.
Man, you know he doesn't play basketball anymore.
You know, he probably doesn't even have it anymore, guys.
It's only one way to find out.
Welcome back, Michael Jordan!
Oh, I see. It's because of the Looney Tunes that Michael Jordan came back to basketball. God, this movie sucks! I mean, what were they thinking? In what insane asylum could this movie possibly be considered good? And you wanna know what the amazing thing is? This movie actually had 4 writers! 4 writers! And not one of them knew that they were writing intergalactic pig shit! I mean, can you imagine what the writing session with these 4 morons was like?
I see aliens. I also see Michael Jordan being sucked down a golf hole to win a basketball game against Bugs Bunny.
Actually, that explains a lot.
That's it. We're out of here.
I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. God, what a bad movie.
Welcome back to Ben Rants. And when I was a kid, filmmakers didn't try to turn movies into commercials. Most of the time. Welcome back to Looney Tunes Month. Since I have a schedule to stick with, and I can't do the same video 2 weeks in a row, so it's time for me to do a rant. I thought to myself, how am I going to find something Looney Tunes related to rant on? I then thought of the Looney Tunes show, but I'm not going through that nightmare again. But then, I had to think back to my childhood. There is one Looney Tunes related thing that used to be one of my favorite movies as a kid. This was a movie that Warner Brothers shoved into our faces as a Looney Tunes movie, and me being the huge Looney Tunes fan that I was back then, I ate it all up. Watching it again as an adult, I can now see this piece of crap for what it really is, an embarrassment to Looney Tunes. That thing is Space Jam. I've been wanting to rant on this piece of spit for the longest time, but I was shaky to do so. Now, for the sake of Looney Tunes Month, I finally gathered up the courage to do it. So, get ready to want to pop every basketball you see. Here is my rant on Space Jam. First of all, what the heck is up with the title? Space Jam? Who the heck thought of that? It's like they couldn't think of a name, so they threw words into a hat and drew 2 of those words and put them together. Seriously, Space Jam? That sounds like a galactic rap battle. This movie hasn't even started yet and I'm already ranting on something about it. Anyway, the next big thing to note is the poster. Bugs Bunny gets top billing over Michael Jordan. That's right, a cartoon character gets top billing over one of the best basketball players of all time. Don't truck with cartoon characters. Anyway, the movie starts out and we see Ivan Reitman produce this. That's right, the director of Ghostbusters is producing a movie where Bugs Bunny teams up with Michael Jordan. I don't know what he was on either, folks, but he is Canadian and there is a certain thing that's legal in Canada. So, this movie starts off with little Michael Jordan shooting hoops in his backyard. This is a Looney Tunes movie, right? Soon, the credits start and we see a montage of highlights of Michael Jordan's career. Still waiting for the Looney Tunes to appear. During the credits, I noticed something weird. This movie has 4 writers. Huh? What? Huh? What? Keep that in mind throughout this video, folks. I'll bring it up later. After more boring Michael Jordan filler, we go up to outer space where this alien boss runs an amusement park called Moron Mountain, and he notices that aliens are starting to hate his park. Did we just step into another movie? This has got to be the most random transition I've ever seen in any movie. Anyway, the alien boss is named Mr. Swackhammer, and he's voiced by Danny DeVito. I'm glad to say he redeemed himself a year later by being in Hercules. Anyway, Mr. Swackhammer wants something new and fresh to bring to his park, so he settles on the Looney Tunes! Really? If that's how they're going to bring in the Looney Tunes, then we're not in good shape. So he sends his alien henchmen, orange one, green one, purple one, blue one, and pink one to Earth to capture the tunes. We enter another movie again as Michael Jordan is playing baseball now. Wow, I kept forgetting Michael Jordan played baseball, so I'm glad this movie is kind enough to remind me of that, even though I kept forgetting it for a reason. Anyway, our next character to appear is... Hello, Newman. Sheesh, who did he lose a bet with to have to be in this movie? Don't take that Seinfeld curse lightly, people. Anyway, Newman's brought into... it's really not made clear in this film, so you can Mad-lib it. Newman is brought into verb Michael Jordan. Help? Yeah, right, like he could save Michael Jordan from his baseball career. Teach? This is the same guy who went all out in a game of Risk with his best friend Kramer. Torture. There we go, that's perfect. Anyway, while Michael Jordan is sucking at baseball and Newman is sadly not being funny, the alien ship buries itself underground to look for the Looney Tunes. Hey, guys, you might want to look in Hollywood. I don't think the Tunes live at the center of the earth. What do you know, they do. Huh. What, do they share an acre of hell with Satan? Anyway, 10 minutes in, we finally see Elmer Fudd chasing Bugs Bunny, whose voice is off. The aliens then land their ship on Elmer's head. I'm crying inside. That was a great slapstick joke, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny! Anyway, the bland aliens are looking for Bugs, which is weird because if they're able to watch Looney Tunes in outer space, then how the heck do they not know who he is? Anyway, Bugs tricks them and they pull out ray guns out on him and ask him to gather up all his Toon pals. Before we can see more unfunny cartoon gags, we cut back to unfunny Michael Jordan and Newman. After Newman drops Michael Jordan off at his house, MJ is attacked by his dog in a very unfunny way, and we're introduced to MJ's family. His fictional family. Look, if one of my family members was famous and was going to be in a movie where they play basketball with the Looney Tunes, I wouldn't want to be in it either. Anyway, MJ walks in on his kids watching a sports report on MJ's crappy baseball skills. Is it sad to say that this is the funniest part of the movie? No, scratch that. This is the only funny part in the movie. MJ gets tired of taking other people's opinions, so he changes the channel to a Roadrunner cartoon. Thank God! Actual Looney Toony goodness. Before I can enjoy actual humor, Porky Pig runs in and tells Wile and Roadrunner that the Toons have an emergency meeting, and the cartoon just stops. So, according to Space Jam, the Looney Tunes actually film the same cartoon over and over again. They don't do repeats. It's live. That's the dumbest thing I have ever heard! How the heck is the network going to fill in the rest of that time slot? Well, the Looney Tunes have an emergency cartoon meeting, so I'm going to have to fill this spot. I wasn't prepared because I had no idea cartoon characters don't believe in reruns, so I'll just ad-lib. The weather is good, if it's good where you live. Paper spelled backwards is reapar. And I wasn't born a man. I think I've said too much. Anyway, the Toons have their emergency meeting where the aliens threaten them. Of course, they then pull out their ray guns and now they're afraid of them. Oh no, ray guns! It's not like they can kill us because we're cartoon characters, but still, they're ray guns! Bugs then fools them into giving the Toons a chance to defend themselves. These aliens are easier to fool than Jessica Simpson. So, the Toons plan something to retaliate against the aliens. Oh, the possibilities! They could blow them up with dynamite, whack them over the heads with mallets, and put them in cages with Burmese tigers, and watch as the tigers rip them to alien shreds. Or they could just challenge them to a basketball game. Again, this is a Looney Tunes movie, right? Anyway, the aliens are at least smart enough to know that the Looney Tunes would beat them in a basketball game, so they head to New York during a game between the Suns and the Knicks, dressed up as the main character in a Jethro Tull song, and they sit next to Dan Castellaneta and Patricia Heaton. I guess maybe they could have. I got nothing. These are the most random cameos ever, and this is coming from someone who likes the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. Anyway, the aliens steal the talent of two then popular NBA players, Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley. Looks like they also stole their comedic talent. What little they had. We cut back to the Looney Tunes still not being funny as aliens want to turn to practice on the Looney Tunes' conveniently placed basketball court. I don't know why they would have one either, folks. However, it's the Blaine aliens' turn to practice. After the Tunes mock them, the aliens pull out their ball full of talent and it turns them into monsters. Or, as the movie calls them, monstars. Ha ha ha, that's stupid. Anyway, Bugs realizes that now they're the ones that are going to get their heinies kicked, so they realize they need help. Darn, if only they made those aliens run away with cartoony gags when they had the chance. Anyway, we cut back to MJ as he's playing golf with two other pointless cameos, Bill Murray and NBA Hall of Famer Larry Bird. It's like Warner Brothers knew this movie was going to make money, so they shoved as much money into cameos as possible. Anyway, this starts a running gag throughout the movie where Bill Murray wants to be an NBA player. Bill, just stick to catching ghosts and getting rid of gophers. You'll be more successful doing that. Anyway, MJ gets a hole-in-one thanks to Bugs, and he is sucked down into the Looney Tunes land. Michael Jordan doesn't at all seem shocked by the fact that he's surrounded by cartoon characters, and Bug tells him that they need his help. You see, MJ, we need your help to stop aliens from kidnapping us. By kidnapping you. Hypocritical, ain't we? The Tunes then show Michael Jordan their gym. I don't know why they would need one either, folks. Suddenly, our non-threatening villains burst in and use Michael Jordan as a basketball. Well, you can pretty much guess what happens here. Since MJ is a human being, him being turned into a basketball will crush all of his bones and smash all of his organs into anatomy pie, no doubt killing him. Dun 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 dun. If Warner Brothers didn't want us to suffer more, yes, that would happen. However, he somehow survives, and I still have to watch my childhood icons getting crapped on. We then step into another movie as the NBA players that lost their talent are having bad lives because of it. Oh, basketball's the only thing we're good at, and now we suck at it. Our lives are ruined! Anyway, while all this other unfunny stuff is going on, Stan is digging for MJ. One wonders how he's not getting arrested for destruction of property, but whatever. We cut back to another movie as the Looney Tunes are trying to play basketball, but are stuck doing what they should have been doing for the rest of this movie, performing slapstick on one another, when suddenly, who walks in but... oh, Mama! Sweet Sister Christian! This is quite possibly the most unattractive thing to ever walk on a film. Some people are actually turned on by her. Don't worry, I'm not going to judge you. She's also the most blank character to be in this movie, and she's being compared to the skittle-colored aliens and Michael Jordan himself. She's only got one character trait. She doesn't like being called doll. That's it. I'll give this movie credit, though. I'd rather her be bland than her rape my ears with her motor mouth. Anyway, Bugs falls head over rabbit's feet for Lola as she becomes a part of the team. MJ then realizes he can't play in nice clothes, so he asks Bugs and Daffy to go up to 3D Land to get his basketball gear. What follows is nothing more than missed comedic gold. Bugs and Daffy get pursued by MJ's dog, and not once is there a funny gag. How could that happen? Anyway, Jordan's fictional kids come and save the day, and Bugs tells MJ's kids that they kidnapped his dad to help them win a basketball game against aliens, and they shouldn't tell anyone. And the kids say, yeah, that's okay. Kid? You didn't realize you're talking to cartoon characters? And another thing, if MJ's going to be doing this, I can only imagine how this would play out if the conversation got brought up. Kids, where's your father at? I haven't seen him in 2 days. We're not supposed to tell you, Mommy. Tell me where your father is, or I won't let you watch that channel where they're showing that background of that Roadrunner cartoon they've been showing for 2 days. Okay, Daddy was kidnapped by the Looney Tunes, and now he has to play a basketball game with them against space aliens. Do. Hello, mental asylum? My son's gone crazy. Send a van right over. Also, have you guys seen my husband? Anyway, the Tunes bring Michael Jordan his gear, and he puts on a montage of him dunking while the Looney Tunes watch him in amazement. Wow, he's doing something that he's been doing for half of his life. Amazing. Newman joins the team, and now it's time for the big game. Hubie and Birdie do play-by-play on the game, and after Michael Jordan is introduced, Swag Camera asks the stupidest question I've ever heard. Is he a Looney Tune? What? Is he a Looney Tune? Well, gee, he's not animated in any way, and he is in 3D. He looks like a Looney Tune to me! What a maroon! After that stupid question, MJ makes a stupid statement after the Toon Squad, seriously, that's their team name, huddle up. MJ says, let's just have fun. MJ, the Toons' lives and way of living are on the line here. If they lose, they become slaves. That sounds like too much pressure on their backs to be able to just have fun. Anyway, the game starts, and of course, the Toons are getting their animated heinies kicked. If only they challenge the Monstars at something they're actually good at. Anyway, halftime comes a little too quickly, and the Toons drink Michael Jordan's secret stuff that magically makes them able to kick the Monsters' heinies. After a bunch of slapstick that should be funny, Swaghammer decides that he wants MJ for his amusement park. He says MJ will be a star attraction. How? No aliens know who he is! He says MJ will sign autographs all day long. What autographs? What alien would want an Earthling's autograph? My gosh, no wonder why his amusement park is in the shape it's in. Because this guy has no idea what his own people are interested in. Anyway, the Toons magically are now getting their heinies kicked again. During this, Bugs and Lola get smitten with each other. And I could care less. Once one of the Toons players is taken out, Newman is then called onto the court. Of course, he gets pancaked. Yay! No more unfunny comedy relief. Of course, although we were all waiting for Newman to get hurt, one wonders how he survived getting trampled by 5 giant monsters. Well, Daffy is there to explain it, in his own words, no sweat, this is Looney Tune land. Okay, so what you're saying is that despite being humans, since MJ and Newman are in your land, they can't get killed. Then how come when you two were in the real world, Daffy didn't get killed when he got mauled by MJ's dog? That's freaking bullcrap! Being in a certain place doesn't make you adapt to it like that. That would be like if I went to Alaska and grew fur. It just doesn't work like that. Anyway, the Toons have 10 seconds left on the clock and they need another player. Who else comes in but... That's right, the director didn't get his money's worth out of Bill Murray's cameo, so he brought him in to save the team. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture. They look similar to me. If they don't to you, then get your eyes checked, people. Anyway, the game starts again as more than 10 seconds goes by, and MJ makes the final dunk and the Toons win. Hooray! The Monstars send their boss to the moon because they now realize they're bigger than him, and they put the talent of the NBA players back in the ball, and MJ realizes he has a baseball game to go to. So, he leaves the pale stereotypes of the Looney Tunes, and we cut to a baseball arena where the crowd is getting restless. They paid to see MJ suck at baseball, and they're going to get their money's worth, come hail or high water. Eventually, MJ shows up in a spaceship, and the crowd goes wild. Yeah! Hey Fred, how come Michael Jordan's coming out of a spaceship? Shut up and cheer for him! After MJ plays a baseball game that thankfully we didn't have to sit through, he goes to his basketball friends and they get their talent back. Hooray! Anyway, MJ decides that he really does suck at baseball, so he goes back to the Chicago Bulls and the movie ends with a picture of Michael Jordan dunking. You know, if I was a casual viewer and all I saw of this movie was the beginning and the ending of this movie, I would think this is a documentary on Michael Jordan. And I have a good reason to think that! So, there's the plot of Space Jam. The plot is stupid, the Looney Tunes personalities are raped, and Michael Jordan and his friends are terrible actors. And this movie is the worst combo of two things since... ever! You know the basic plot. Now to go over general problems. For starters, the director of this film, Joe Pica, is a commercial director. Pretty coincidental, seeing as how this movie is nothing more than a commercial for Michael Jordan's life. Second, the way they make Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes meet in this movie is so lazy and dumb. The aliens want to kidnap the Tunes for their theme park. Only problem is, how the heck would aliens know who the Tunes are? I mean, I'm surprised they know who the Tunes are. Since when do aliens get Earth TV channels? I just don't get it. Third, this movie overdoes close-ups. It seems every character in this movie has a moment where their face is making out with the camera. You know what sucks most about this, though? Throughout an 80-minute movie with over 10 close-ups, not one, I repeat, not one fourth wall joke about the close-ups is made. Come on! That would have been the closest joke related to Looney Tunes in this movie. I especially love knowing that Disney's Aladdin made a close-up joke in its first 5 minutes 4 years before Space Jam came out. I love it when Disney does Warner Brothers better than when Warner Brothers does Warner Brothers! Fourth, remember the 4 writers of this movie? Yes, I'm bringing them up again. All I can say is, what the flack, writers? What the flack? You had 4 writers working for this movie, and not one spoke up and said, don't you think the idea of this movie is stupid? Wait a minute. I think I know why 4 writers got credit for this movie. They didn't make this movie together. They made 4 separate movies. No, think about it. One writer came up with a Michael Jordan movie, another one came up with a Looney Tunes movie, the third came up with an alien invasion movie, and the fourth came up with a Bill Murray movie. However, Warner Brothers said no to all of these scripts and shoved them in a vault. However, when Warner Brothers wanted to make a movie-long commercial, they got out the 4 scripts and combined them together, and Space Jam was created. It's a possibility. Bottom line, Space Jam is a piece of crap movie that I can't believe I used to worship as a kid. The very idea of combining cartoon characters with athletes just seems idiotic. And I hate how movies keep trying to turn athletes into actors. Stick to what you're good at! I'm just glad even though this movie was a box office success, they didn't try to do something like this again. I just hope that Disney's upcoming Mickey Mouse movie isn't about him helping Serena Williams with her anger management while mole people are trying to eat Minnie Mouse's soul. If it is, I'm blowing my brains out. I'm Ben, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna go burn my Space Jam's bed sheets.
Nostalgic or not, there are certain things that don't go well together, like Looney Tunes and basketball. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Jim of 99, and welcome to another edition of Hellfire Cinema. And today we are going to review a movie that's not released in 2002. Seriously, I did not intend to make that pattern. It just sort of came out of nowhere without my attention. But yeah, let's review a movie that's released in 1996. The movie I am talking about is a film which the whole idea and concept came from commercials promoting Air Jordans featuring Looney Tunes characters. Now, certain people would tell you that the movie had a pretty clever premise and idea, but in reality, it's just a shameless attempt to make more merchandise and more commercials for more money due to the success of the commercials. The movie is called Space Jam. In some ways, I'm honestly quite surprised that a movie like this existed. I mean, the idea is Michael Jordan being around with Looney Tune characters. That just doesn't sound real to me. That's something that I would expect from a bad fanfiction story, or even a satirical comic book. Not a full-length film that actually got released in theaters. That's insane! Well then again, we live in the same world where 50 Shades of Grey got its own movie in theaters, so I guess anything is possible. Apparently some idiot from Warner Brothers thought it would be a great idea to turn those commercials into a movie, and I don't understand why, because Warner Brothers were making so much money teaming up with Air Jordan with those commercials and gaining a lot of merchandise off of it. It's not like they were running out of money, they were the top marketing draws back in the mid-90s. So because enough is never enough for these greedy pigs, they decided to make a movie to make, well, more money. Now, I'm already crushing childhood memories when I review this movie, and some of you are probably wondering, why did you like this movie, Jim? Well, this is a negative movie review, so of course I'm going to do that. But before I do, just remember, just because I review a childhood movie that you liked, explain to you why I don't like it, and telling you why I think this movie sucks, does not mean I'm telling you to stop watching this movie. I'm just simply giving out my opinion, and you don't necessarily have to agree with me on it. If you can't respect that and understand that, then you are an adult child who would whine on just about anything. Well, then again, I'm practically used to the negativity and bad publicity as it is, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But bottom line is, I don't care if you like shitty movies that I don't like. And I'm not calling you an idiot for liking shitty movies. So, with that being said, after a long-ass introduction, let's move on to the review. So our movie begins with, surprisingly enough, the highlight of the entire movie. We get the scene where Michael Jordan is in his childhood. He talks to his dad, how when he grows up, he wants to become the greatest basketball player of all time. And it's a nice little touch, and it gives you a good motivation inside of you that makes you want to, well, do something with your life. Unless, of course, if you're a little kid watching this. But other than that, it's a nice little scene. After that little scene, we cut to, now let's be honest here, the most memorable thing that everyone remembers when they think about this movie. The Space Jam intro. Surely there is someone out there that can memorize every line of dialogue, animation, acting, and just about everything that happens in this movie, but I guarantee you, no one in this planet forgets this fucking intro.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam.
Seriously, this is one of the greatest intros I have ever seen in any other movie. I love this intro, despite not being a fan of basketball. And if you look closely to the stuff that's being shown in the intro, the stuff that's being shown and the way how it's edited, it's actually kind of like a documentary of Michael Jordan's career and life up to this point. It even shows you photos of the school he's been and shows footage of the games he's played when he was in college. It's just amazing.
Come on, one time for the ladies, say it. Who that is? Not all the fellas, say it. Who that is?
The compilation of photos and footage that's being shown all works really well thanks to the editing and the special effects, and of course the biggest icing on the cake, the theme song, Space Jam. Again, fucking Space Jam!
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam.
It fits the whole style of this intro perfectly, and it works.
We're gonna take it into overtime. Welcome to the Space Jam.
It's loud, energizing, catchy as hell, and it definitely gets your blood moving and makes you want to play basketball. But it's not going to work for me because I don't play basketball. But the point is, the music gets you pumped up! I mean, for God's sakes, this theme song is so good and so catchy that numerous people on the internet have actually made remixes of it, even to this day. That alone should tell you how good this song is, or how easy it is to make remixes off of it, but either way, it tells you something about the song. And just when you're hoping that the whole movie's nothing like this, it all falls downhill and it's never gonna get any better from here. At least for me. Michael Jordan publicly states that he's retiring from basketball because he felt like he's done everything he could in his career and his father passed away after the last game he played. Oh yeah, and Michael Jordan also said that he's starting his career as a baseball player. You might think that's bad writing, but that actually did happen in real life. I'm not kidding either, look it up. Then, for some reason, the camera goes up, we go to outer space, and it takes us to an amusement park. Or should I say, an amusement planet. Okay, whoever came up with the name of that amusement park should be fired because you're just asking for trouble right there. I guess it doesn't matter because the amusement planet absolutely sucks. Pretty fitting name now that I think about it. It's here where we're introduced to the main villain of the movie, voiced by Danny DeVito.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him? That little brat is right. I've told you, if I've told you once, I told you 1,000 times.
Good choice, but would you like to know what the name of the villain is? It's Mr. Swackhammer. I like Danny DeVito as much as the next guy, but you gotta admit, it's pretty embarrassing when you have to do a voice acting role for a character named Mr. Swackhammer. I'm just gonna rename him to Fut, short for Fat Ugly Troger. I don't care if it's immature, I like it. Mr. Fudd goes on a rant telling everyone that he keeps telling his employees that he needs new attractions to save his business, but they just keep fucking up for whatever reason that we're never given. Then Mr. Fudd tries to think of an idea to improve the business. He says that he needs something crazy, wacky, practically anything cartoony. And the idea he was looking for would eventually pop up after he sits on the remote playing some Looney Tunes shorts. I may not own an amusement park, but common sense would tell you that classic cartoon shorts isn't enough to make your amusement park good again.
Make 'em.
Cool.
And so begins the conflict of this movie, I guess. Mr. Fudd wants the Looney Tunes to make his amusement park good again, and he's gonna send 5 of his minions to force the Looney Tunes to work with him. I guess they're minions because the first time we see them, they just kiss his ass like no tomorrow. But yeah, they're coming for the Looney Tunes. Oh, and we also get the scene where Michael Jordan is playing baseball, but that's not important. It's just there for filler. The aliens arrive on planet Earth and they find the Looney Tunes by, I swear I am not making this up, going underground to find this circle thingamafucker with the Warner Brothers logo that acts like a portal, go through it, and enter the world of Looney Tunes. Hearing that explanation just makes me feel sorry for the poor gullible kids that actually buy into that bullshit and spend countless hours digging holes underground to find the portal. True story, one of my aunts at least knew one kid that actually tried to find the Looney Tunes that way. Poor little bastard didn't stood a chance. Back to the story. The aliens find Bugs Bunny and they pretend like they haven't heard of the Looney Tunes to try to get Bugs Bunny to do one of his character traits. He does, and right when he is about to walk away, the aliens shoot him. Which is kind of funny, I should say. The aliens then tell Bugs Bunny to go gather up all of the Looney Tunes characters for a little meeting. Going off the record here, am I the only one that thinks that these 5 aliens are some of the most stereotypical and non-threatening villains ever to be conceived by anything in fiction?
One small step for one giant leap for Moron Mountain.
I mean, really, I couldn't even remember their names. Do you? Aside from their character traits? I mean, let's face it. This little shit is the small but bright stereotype. This little shit is the aggressively hostile one. This little shit is the tall dumbass stereotype. This little shit is the mentally crazy one. And this little shit is the tough leader. Either way you look at it, these little shits are all stereotypes. You can try and justify their bland character traits all you want, but no matter how hard you try, the sad fact is, these guys are... Well, I'll save that until we reach to the point where the game begins in the movie. Anyways, I'm going to skip a lot of things that happen with Michael Jordan and his family. It's boring and it's just there for filler and they're not even funny in the slightest. Although the only thing worth noting about these scenes is this part right here.
There you go. Good runner.
Just wait. It's coming.
Stop this cartoon.
Yes, this is really happening.
We've got an emergency cartoon character union meeting to go to.
Nope, you're not high, and you're not even dreaming. This is for reals happening.
Dang, where'd they go?
Damn, so many questions are coming out of my head right now. I am, honest to God, mind blown right now. Anyways, moving on. They have a meeting and the aliens convince the Looney Tunes that there is nothing they could do and they are going to be their prisoners. And just when all hope is lost, Bugs Bunny pulls a trick up his sleeve to give them more time to survive from the aliens. Here's how he does it.
Just a sec. Clean them and wait, boys.
Give them a chance to defend themselves.
Wow. That is just embarrassing right there. The aliens stopped their invasion all because Bugs Bunny just wrote some fake book telling them to give them a chance. You guys have guns that could shoot lasers and cause mass destruction. What's a fucking little book gonna do to you?
Do we have to? It's in the rule book.
It is. Okay. It is in the rule book.
I said this before and I'll say it again now. Nobody is stopping you! You guys must be the shittiest aliens ever when you can't even do your job of invading a planet right! So because the aliens are stupid, Bugs Bunny quickly comes up with some kind of challenge to beat the aliens so that they could survive. They quickly examine the aliens and it turns out that they are small. Just small. With that incredibly obvious fact, just by looking at the aliens, they challenge them to a basketball game. Oh, I get it, because basketball is known for tall players. Ha ha ha. Funny. Everyone in the meeting watches a video that explains how basketball works, and the aliens know for a fact that they're going to lose because, again, they're short. So they head back to planet Earth to get something or some kind of help to beat the Looney Tunes in a basketball game. And here's how they do it. They go into an arena watching a basketball game dressed like this. Was this kind of clothing acceptable in the 90s? Because I seriously don't think people dressed up like that would go well in public. Anyways, the aliens arrived on the basketball game so that they could... I swear, I am not joking, I'm not lying, I'm not making this up. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, the aliens arrived to steal the talent off of the best NBA players. Yeah, stealing talent, making the NBA players suck completely. Now, while I admit that the ability to steal talent off of people is a really unique idea, don't you think it's suspiciously convenient for these aliens to have that kind of power, especially when they needed to become really good basketball players to beat the Looney Tunes in a basketball game? Something tells me that the planets are aligning right about now. Anyways, the aliens steal the talent of 5 basketball players and they manage to get away with it because the goo that they used is completely invisible and people seem to believe that it's some sort of crazy disease that's affecting these basketball players, so I'll buy it, I guess. Now before I skip anything, I just want to show you this one quick little moment that happens when Michael Jordan is watching the news of the NBA players losing their talent. His friend, I guess, comes over and says this.
It's open! Come on, Michael, it's game time. Get your Hanes on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties and your Gatorade, and we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark.
If that line right there doesn't tell you that the whole movie's a sellout and it's just there to make more money, then I don't know what does. Anyways, back to the story. The aliens steal the talent and transform into intergalactic monster basketball players, or as Sylvester calls them,
They're monsters!
Clever. The Looney Tunes realize that they're screwed and they need another basketball player to even the odds. And what better choice than arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. And it just so happens that Michael Jordan is playing golf with his friends, I guess, and the Looney Tunes have their own way of getting Michael Jordan to play basketball with them. A little bit of subtlety would be nice instead of just outright kidnapping him. Now before anyone says anything, yes, I know for a fact that this review so far is just me giving out the whole story of the film without actually watching the movie. But you know what? The movie's biggest flaw is the story itself. And I still don't know how, to this day, no one has ever talked about it. Or at least I haven't heard anyone that complained about the story because it is... well, we'll get to that later when we finish it. Skipping a lot of things that happen here because up to this point, the story starts to have all these scenes that are just an excuse to have the game to happen right away, and then you have all these filler scenes that don't really add up to anything.
And we've scheduled a 12-lead stress test at Neurological Battery to
and failed to be fun. And before anyone brings this up, yes, this is the movie that also introduced us to a new Looney Tunes character named Lola Bunny.
Has anyone here ever played basketball?
I have. I'd like to try out for the team.
And for those of you who knew Lola Bunny from the new Looney Tunes show, she was completely different back in the day. And God bless whoever came up with the idea to change her character completely. In this movie, Lola Bunny's character was this very bland, beautiful but strong type. And I believe around this time of the movie's release, this type of character trait would slowly catch up, but not portrayed well until much later. And for those of you who are shocked that such a thing like a sexually drawn animal exists, yeah, she's drawn that way, and she acts that way too. You can complain about this, but that was a thing in the 90s. She isn't the only one. There's Mina, Fifi LaFume, I guess since she's pretty popular in the furry community. And if you really want big examples, there was those quick animation shorts that featured more sexually drawn female characters that have a lot more fan service than Lola Bunny's. I could go on all day with this, and I know I'm going to be severely wrong when I discuss it, but the bottom line is, this kind of stuff was okay back in the day, and there is a thing called fetish, whether you like it or not. Here's a life advice from me. Do not criticize others for having a fetish unless they do something horribly wrong, like stalking or raping. But enough of that, let's move on. After a lot of filler, I presume at this point the Looney Tunes know everything about basketball thanks to Michael Jordan and Lola Bunny, I guess, in order to play basketball to save their lives. But before I begin the quote epic climax unquote, I have to recap everything that we know so far. And I want all of you to really pay attention to the story closely and ask yourself how a story like that could work. Here's the recap. An amusement park type planet from outer space has a boss that's doing business poorly. He sees the Looney Tunes and thinks that's going to improve the business. 5 short aliens go to planet Earth to capture the Looney Tunes. They do so by heading underground, find a portal to enter the world of Looney Tunes. And just when the aliens are about to capture the Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny makes a one last ditch effort to buy some more time in order to survive from the aliens. The aliens fall for a dumb little trick. Bugs Bunny then challenges them to a basketball game because 5 of these aliens are short. I repeat, 5 of these aliens are short. The aliens head back to planet Earth to steal talents off of 5 really good basketball players in order to beat the Looney Tunes. The aliens become intergalactic alien basketball players, or also known as Monstars, and Bugs Bunny knows for a fact that they're screwed and they need another basketball player to even the odds in order to win. And the basketball player just happens to be Michael Jordan, who just retired from basketball. And everything that I am telling you so far just so happens to occur right after Michael Jordan was beginning his career as a baseball player. While all the planets are aligning, Michael Jordan agrees to help the Looney Tunes and isn't at all freaked out at the idea that cartoons are real right in front of his face and just accept it like it was just a normal day on Mondays. After a lot of filler, the game has one huge stipulation. If the Looney Tunes wins, they're free from the aliens, and if the Monstars win, the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan will all be slaves for Moron Mountain for the rest of their lives. And I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. All I know is that the aliens exist, cartoons are real, Michael Jordan made a huge discovery, my friends are weird, my enemies are strange, my family's a liability, pies and cakes are a lie, the jam is the truth, everything in the media besides basketball and Looney Tunes is garbage, the earth is the center of the universe, heaven and hell don't exist, the Illuminati is a joke, reincarnation happens when you're dead, every cartoon that we know is an angel, and Michael Jordan is our Lord and Savior, the God of this planet. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? Why am I? How am I? There's no Jesus Christ. The second coming will happen when LeBron James enters in Space Jam number 2. I went overboard with that part, but all joking aside, doesn't the whole story feel completely forced and contrived in every sense of the word? I mean, am I the only one that thinks this? Everything that's happening in this movie is just as batshit crazy as the story from the Titanic animated movie. And that had dolphin tears that help you communicate with animals. Seriously, guys, think about it. Looney Tunes, aliens, basketball game, Michael Jordan, some character named Lola Bunny, Danny DeVito as Mr. Futt. The whole fucking thing is just an excuse to make a story off of a crossover between Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, all because of the success of the commercials. Does nobody in the entire planet notice anything wrong with this picture? Now that I got that out of my system, it's time for the climax to begin. It's an epic showdown between the team's Toon Squad against Monstars. Michael Jordan and the rest of the Looney Tunes going up against 5 still generic as hell monsters that are in it for the sole purpose to have a reason for this movie's existence. And that's the cold-hearted truth right there for those of you who like these aliens. They are not original. They are not even just evil stereotypical villains or minions. They are just tools created for a reason to have Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes play basketball together. That's it. As for the basketball game, you know, the one thing the movie is building up to all this time, the game is... Okay, look. Overlooking the fact that I'm not a basketball fan, overlooking the fact that this game is the highlight of the film to many people who had childhood memories with this movie, overlooking the fact that the whole movie was centered around this basketball game because they wanted to make more money off of more commercials and merchandise off of the movie itself, but here's the fact and the way that I see this game. It is one of the most generic and predictable games I have ever seen in my life. And I can say that for a fact because back in the day, I've seen a lot of movies, including those that are for family entertainment. And some of these movies just happen to be about a group of losers who couldn't win a game to save their lives, yet at the end of the movie, they somehow overcome the odds and actually win a game. Examples being Bad News Bears, Angels of the Outfield, Little Big League, and Little Giants, which is the one game that I will show in comparison with Space Jam's game to prove my point that it is cliche. With that said, here we go. The bad guys dominate the good guys throughout the entirety of the first half of the game.
I'm gonna rip your head off!
When halftime starts, the bad guys rub it in the good guys' faces that they are going to lose and there's no chance to come back strong.
Have a nice halftime, girls!
The good guys head to the locker room, have a little moment with each other, give out a motivational speech about faith moving mountains, we can overcome the odds, blah blah blah, you know, all that shit.
Even if they beat you 99 times out of 100, that still leaves
One time. One time.
The second half of the game begins and the good guys actually start to make a huge comeback and score a lot of points.
We scored a touchdown! Touchdown!
And just when things are starting to pick up for the good guys, the bad guys do something to make matters worse. Regardless, the good guys still continue to push the pace and both teams are neck and neck in the scoreboards, and the good guys only need 1 point to win the game, and it just so happens that they needed it right when the game has about a few seconds to make that winning point.
Coach, there's still 4 seconds left. We can beat these guys! Yeah!
The good guys give it their best shot, the bad guys did whatever they can to stop them, a miracle happens, and the good guys manage to win the game clean. And that's your whole game in a nutshell. Now let me ask you, aside from the fact that the movie is animated, it features Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, oh yeah, and a pointless cameo by Bill Murray.
No way, we'll find someone.
Going up against the Monstars, and you have seen a lot of funny jokes here and there, and I use the term funny loosely. What makes this basketball game any more different and entertaining than the other games that you've seen in movies where it's about kids going up against opposing teams in a certain sport? Exactly. So to wrap things up, the Looney Tunes obviously win, and just before the aliens are about to go home with Mr. Fudd, Michael Jordan asks them,
Why you take it from this guy?
Because he's bigger. He's bigger
than we used to be. What are you doing?
Oh, so now they realize that they're bigger and stronger than their boss. Ha 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 ha! That's funny! But yeah, the aliens defeat Mr. Fudd, I guess, in the most unsatisfying way possible. And it seems like their new home is the Looney Tunes world. And just to prove my point that these aliens are still nothing but tools for the sole purpose of getting the basketball game started, you never, and I mean ever, see them again in the Looney Tunes. They've done their job, and they're never coming back. But anyways, things return back to normal for the Looney Tunes. The aliens return Michael Jordan back to Earth. By the way, how is it that nobody on the basketball arena are scared at the fact that they're seeing a freaking alien spaceship with their eyes? Michael Jordan returns the talent back to the 5 basketball players that the aliens originally stole. The 5 basketball players then tell him that Michael Jordan doesn't have it in him anymore to see if he can play basketball again. Michael Jordan says otherwise, and he returns to play basketball, which actually did happen in real life. So that was Space Jam. Why the fuck is this movie getting a sequel? Look, I'm sorry, but either way you look at it, this whole movie is nothing more but an excuse to make more merchandise and commercials off of this movie, because the original commercials where it features Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes promoting Air Jordans were doing so good back then. To be fair, it's not one of the worst movies ever made, but it's certainly one of the weakest, and I don't think it holds up well to this day. Michael Jordan's performance in the movie is really bad. Every time I look at the screen, you can tell he's just doing this for a paycheck, and he's not interested in anything that's happening. I mean, just look at his face. Look at it! The Looney Tunes themselves in this movie aren't that good either, or at least they're not as well written or funny as they were back in the classic cartoon shorts. And the humor that they give is about as funny as the bad comedy stuff you'd see in the mid-90s. They are just not that funny. And the movie can get pretty boring sometimes, especially the scenes where it takes place in live action. The stuff with Michael Jordan and his family isn't particularly interesting. The stuff with the fat friend played by the same guy who did Newman from Seinfeld isn't funny, and I feel like he's just there for the hell of it and he doesn't bring anything to the table. I guess it's okay to share this movie to your kids if you want to shut them up for about an hour, but sharing this movie to your adults, I can guarantee you that they're not going to be entertained, especially the ones that haven't grew up in the 90s. Overall, it's not the worst film ever made, but it's certainly a pretty weak family film, and I wouldn't say avoid it because it is worth watching for one thing and one thing only: the Space Jam intro! For the movie itself, it gets 2 stars, but because it has that really good opening, it gets at least 3. Thank you for watching this review. I'm the Jim of 99, and I'll see you all in hell.